Very few people have been able to wield and taste power without being corrupted. Throughout history, men in power and high positions tend to forget that they are mortals. By getting almost anything and everything that they want, they lose sight of their human boundaries and recklessly destroy themselves and their nations. This is a lesson we must never lose sight of. All throughout history, leaders and powerful men have thought themselves so great and invincible that they try to do daring things. For some reason, they tend to forget that they are mortal, and their abilities are limited. When Nimrod marched the whole world towards Shinar or Babylon to build a tower towards heaven, he believed he would succeed in turning the world against heaven and enthrone himself as the ruler of all humanity. As the tower rose unimpeded and almost the whole world bowed down to him, he relished in his power and authority. Unbeknown to him, however, was that a more powerful being was silently following his progress. While he celebrated his success and looked forward to a glorious future when all his plans would materialize, one greater than he decided otherwise and sent down angels to confuse their language and throw away their hard work. Nimrod's plan ended in failure. Nimrod was confident of getting whatever he wanted. He felt so powerful and unconquerable that he attempted to challenge God's covenant with Noah that he would never bring flood on the earth again. He therefore gathered the whole world to build a tower unto heaven. When he crossed the boundary set by God, he tasted God's power and authority. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, like his great ancestor Nimrod, felt he could change the course of prophecy and make Babylon stand forever. But the holy ones in heaven had decreed otherwise. He became a beast for 7 years, and Babylon passed the mantle of world dominion to Medo-Persia. Today Babylon is an uninhabited desert. It was when young Alexander the Great was at the peak and height of his power that he decided to do the unthinkable. He had conquered almost all lands and had never lost a battle, but he could not conquer himself. He took on a contest that was both stupid and unnecessary. During a feast in Babylon in June 323 BC, he ate the richest foods and decided to drink undiluted wine from the Herculean cup, which was 5 liters in size. At 32 years old, he could not restrain himself and thought himself invincible. Yet after drinking down so much undiluted wine, his body took the hit. He immediately felt feverish with severe pain throughout his spine and joints. He succumbed to the fever and died. Behold a poignant moment of Alexander the Great on his deathbed, following his drink from the Herculean cup surrounded by his generals and friends in a dimly lit chamber. This scene highlights the dramatic juxtaposition of his monumental achievements against the backdrop of his human vulnerability. Even Solomon, the wisest king, could not control himself at the pinnacle of his glory. When he ascended the throne, he was all humble and godly. He was so dedicated that God spoke to him directly, and he was honored to build a temple to God. Yet, when the riches and honors got into his head, he lost his footing and fell into idolatry, killing children as sacrifice to Molech and Chemosh. He married 700 women with 300 concubines. He taxed his people to exhaustion and turned his back on God until God sent him wars and trouble. Although he repented, he could not undo most of the harm he had caused. These lessons, it seems, have been lost on the leaders of this present world, who meet in secret societies to plan and execute world dominion with Satan and his demons. Hiding behind front organizations and multinational corporations such as the UN, World Economic Forum, food processing companies, pharmaceutical companies, technological giants, and more. These men plot wars, economic hardships, food shortages and famine, revolutions, and political upheavals. Their goal? To create a one-world government under a one-world ruler who shall bring all nations and humans under one authority. To this end, they will do anything and everything to control population growth and overthrow governments and constitutions. Gradually, they're building a tower towards heaven. Where Napoleon and Hitler failed, they aim to succeed. Why should millions die, run from their homes, starve, and suffer, just because another human believes he has weapons that give him power and right over others? Just think about it. Weapons justify one's authoritarian decision to oppress others. Look at Sudan, Somalia, China, Taiwan, Libya, Yemen, Syria, Ukraine, Russia, US, Iraq, Israel, Hamas. The list is endless. Just last week, an opposition leader in Russia called Alexei Navalny was killed in jail in Russia while others are living in exile for fear of death or being caught. Does someone deserve to die for just voicing opposition to a government? Millions are going through suppression and oppression at the hands of their governments, rebels, gangs, and foreign armies. In most of these armed conflicts, children and women suffer most, and they do not even understand the cause or reason for these conflicts. Shall these men be allowed to continue with their bloodshed recklessly? Will they be allowed to take the world to ransom without a check? Is it the case that the Lord seeth us not? The Lord hath forsaken the earth. Ezekiel 8:12. The time isn't far distant when the pride, immorality, evil plans, and recklessness of man shall be stopped, when man shall know that there is a higher power in this world. May this Sabbath bring us peace and heavenly blessings. Shalom.